G'day one, g'day all. Welcome to yet again me, myself and I commentating on a Formula 2 race event, this time in Barcelona. It's tuned into the sprint race there. Is there a chat going on? I can't even see the chat. I'm doing this on my phone actually, folks. So, there goes the chat. Yeah, g'day guys, here you go. Doing this on my phone because Clem is the more technologically advanced one of the pair of us. And obviously kind of goes without saying that Marcus has got no clue whatsoever. So, without all the fancy graphics and whatnot that old Clemogio put together for you last time. But we're going to power through. As we're doing the driver intros now, so all the theme music going on, everyone's crossing their arms, looking all serious, and stars of tomorrow. Flash of flames out the back of an artificial engine that's been computer generated, and the Formula 2 logo, and a shot of Barcelona, Monaco. We're doing Monaco highlights. If you're just trying to catch up, sorry, I'm mumbling on a bit here. How's everyone going? Everyone looking forward to the race? Where's everyone watching from? Chuck your flags in there. Go on. Dare you. Don't have to if you don't want to. Obviously, it's not an instruction. It's not compulsory. A lot of Aussies, few Saffers. German, Swedes, Irish. Up the Irish. Big fans of that. Norway, Sydney. Oh, Christ. Oh. Mr. International. I feel like Pitbull. Iwaza. I reckon Iwaza's going to be quick today. That's pretty much the beginning and end of that thought process. I've got not any evidence to back it up or whatever. It's merely a hunch off basic form. This is terrible. Highlights here. So we sent a replay. We just saw a brief replay of Doohan's shunt, which was quite rough. That was an interesting one. Actually, I was in pit lane when that happened. So he slapped the wall on the exit of the swimming pool. And everyone heard this massive crack, and everyone sort of ran out of the hospitality to sort of have a look to see where's the stationary car, and we didn't see anything. We're going, well, that's a bit bizarre. Next thing you know, old mate's parked up at the top Casino Square on flames. So that was wild. And then Victor had that near run-in with the marshals. I actually don't think it was as villainous as some people made it out to be. He had slowed down. He's in the middle of the road. I mean, you don't expect that kind of carry on to be happening if it's just a basic yellow flag. But anyway, I mean, the way the stewards pounded out, they didn't even really end up penalising him. He went from P2 down to, P6, P8? Anyway, but that was last week, and let's focus on this week, team. So we're going to have a look at some highlights from last year into T1. Doohan on Vesti, speak of the devil, is the highlight they're choosing to play there. And now we're looking at turn 4, and we're going to get a replay of Clement Novalak on Lawson, two friends of the show. The MPs were quick here last year, so there'll be a couple of cars to look out for. I think they really nailed the tyre dig, and that's a shot of tequila. Now we're looking at Fittipaldi on Hughes. Hughes doing a great job this year in Formula E, actually. Pleased to see that from him. He's a bloody nice bloke. Alright, so we've got a shot over the grid here. Big up the Bearman. Yeah, 100%. Oh, it's raining. Fuck me. Oh, well, that's spicy. Jackie Moon, getting ready in the car, getting a handshake from his mechanic there. Vesti. Oh, God. I mean, my world's just been turned upside down. I mean, I was not expecting this. Hopefully it's not one of those massive fuck-arounds, where it's just like, race starts delayed 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Tell you what, we're going to go and have lunch, think about it a bit more, and then we're going to come back and then we'll give you an update after we've had lunch because we're a bit tired from the morning. There's been a lot going on. It's delayed another 10 minutes and then it's, you get it's starting certain local time and then it turns out it's starting under safety car. And then they run 7 laps under safety car. Red flag it because it's getting too dark, or Formula One needs to get on the track and then declare half points, and you're all just sat there going, well, wasn't this a massive fucking waste of time? But anyway, I'm just riffing. That might not happen. So we're going. I've missed half the grid actually. I've missed basically all of the grid run through. just moaning about previous Formula 2 race start procedures in the rain. But yeah, hopefully not too much to complain about today as far as the results go for. I mean, plenty of results to complain about in qualifying with Novalak down in P19. Across from fellow Frenchman Isaac Hadjar, he won't be best pleased. Then it's Maloney and Benavides bringing up the rear of the grid. Now, guys, I mean, this is big. So what's the go here? So the safety car's leading them off. This is going to be really rogue. I think we're going to see some front wings go missing down at T1 and T2. Okay, the race is starting with a rolling start. So already they've made it boring. No one wants to see that. No one wants to see that. Like it's so not pleased. Anyway, maybe we'll see a little bit less damage down into turn 1. I guess that's a positive for the teams and the drivers. As we're going to hear from Vesti, who's having a cracking year. Very straight teeth.
It will be very interesting to see who can keep their tires and manage the race, because for sure it requires some management.
The track doesn't look that wet, you know. I think it's like intermediate. They don't have intermediates in Formula 2, but it doesn't look that wet. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think tire management will be the key.
Cordial starting off pole.
Let's hope it goes well. That the car is good in the races. I think at the best days the car is good.
Good on him.
So there is good hope.
He looks like a sort of European baron or something, doesn't he? Okay, well, okay. So it's going to be Cordial leading the race start from P1 in front of Jackie Moon, or Jacques Lunet, as they know him in the south of France, which we fortunate enough to spend my week there last week, and we will probably touch on that throughout today's broadcast. But now being the race start, it's probably not the time. As Cordial begins to back the field up in a wet circuit de Catalunya. Weaving around and weaving around and weaving around. Jacques Lunet staying right on his tail. Right on his gearbox, as the other commentators might say, but I'm not them. Thank God for that. And Cordial bolts it. He's going to give himself a strange line going through the second to last corner, but it seems to have worked out for him quite all right. Jacques Lunet is all over, or as opposed to he's got Vesti all over his rear. And it's going green as they tear down the straight here. Can't see a lot. There is a lot of spray. I'll give him that. I'll give him that. Would have been less spray if they did a standing start, but you know, what do I know? I'm just an insurance broker. Oh, Vesti's tried to go around the outside of Moon there, and he's been bumped a touch wide. And it looks like Moon's got some kind of... Oh, fucking Moon's got damage! Well, that sucks. I mean, it does not suck for the likes of Cordial, Vesti, and I believe it might be Martins. It is. And it's Hauger. It's going to be Swayze, P4. Doohan making a move for 5, and there's another Red Bull car off the road. Really not a good start for the Red Bull Juniors here. Outside of Patrick Swayze, of course. And it's one of the VARs. Is that... No, that's Richard Bashaw going through on one of the 1002 Red Bull cars in the field that we have today. And it's Behrman who's also snuck his way up there just a little bit too. Has he had a blinder? A running order would be helpful. As a recommendation to the graphics team at F1 TV. A running order would be helpful. As it's Fittipaldi looking to go all the way around the outside, but instead he's going to make a bit of a dick of himself and run off. And the Trident's one of the Tridents has just made a move in the background there. Hopefully it's Clem, but it looks like he wasn't quite as far back as P19. Which is positive. I mean, we're all about positivity here. So Vesti's kind of... I'm gonna go rogue here, team, and I'm actually gonna.
It's a shame that happened, but he's managed obviously to avoid.
We're actually gonna blame Moon for that one.
To avoid a penalty and continue on with his race, but that contact.
I don't feel good about it. I don't feel proud of it. But I think it might have been Moon's fault. Anyway, as we return now, lap 2. As you see this field come through, and it looks like Novalak's put a move on his teammate Static. And he's up to P15. Bloody good on you, mate. How about it? 4 positions on lap 1 for the man from Avignon. And he's behind Deruvala now, so all the lads sort of bunched up a little bit in the sort of mid to rear pack there. Come on, Novalak! Behrman, he has had a good start as well. I was right about that. He's improved to P7 up 3 spots. As is Pourchaire, actually, and Vachor up 4 places behind them as well. So a few movers and shakers early on in this sprint race here. And I think this circuit could dry quite quickly. As you can see, Moon come in clearly with a bent front axle or some kind of shit going on there that's not ideal. And I think that could be curtains for Moon and Vesti. So Vesti's put the move on Cordeal. Who's going to stop this man at the moment? How much momentum's he got? Looking really good over the last 3 or 4 race weekends, and he's really putting it together. Still haven't met the bloke actually, but yeah, it seems like a ripper of a bloke. Leclerc's done Correa. I think if it doesn't rain anymore, and I don't know if it is still raining because my television isn't quite that high definition, but if it doesn't continue to rain, I think this thing could dry out. Just to put a cat amongst the proverbial pigeons there. And Doohan, we're going to get a shot of Doohan here. Novalak does Deruvala. Come on! Up the Clem! No, Vesti's almost looped it there, and then he's made a move for the lead from 0 to hero, really, in a phase of a couple of corners. And Cordeal has pretty much done his best effort to throw away the lead there, to be fair, but, you got to be in it to win it. That's the saying of one of the lottery things here. I think it's Omaze or something. Oh, no, it's the one on Good Morning Britain with that guy, yeah, and he does those prizes. And he always finishes with like, and you've got to be in it to win it. But that's irrelevant because that's a morning news show TV giveaway, and this is a Formula 2 race. And Novalak is up again. He's done one Manuel Correa. Come on! Finally, the giant has awoken from his slumber of shit performances. But this is an absolute stonker from Clement Novalak. Up the man. Needs to rain more often in this championship. Shit would be leading the thing. Give us your thoughts in the chat. Oh. I need to sort of calm down a bit. And it's going to be Martin's up the inside of Cordeal, who gets it a little bit loopy out of T1, but it looks to have snapped it up all right, and it's going to proceed on as it was meant to be. So it's Martin's now in P2 from Cordeal, Hauger in the MPP4. Now, obviously I was talking about tyre deg early on in the broadcast. That's not potentially going to come into play here, but if it does dry out a bit, then this could get a little bit squeakier. And there's a fastest lap from Frederick Vesti, who's just enjoying a bit of clean air and no spray out in front. But there really doesn't look to be that much spray as they're coming out of the sort of long sweeping corner there. I don't know the turns by number, I'm sorry, I'm not that intelligent. But it really doesn't look that bad. How's Clemogio getting on now? He's a second off the back of Miney. We'll keep an eye on that gap because we're going to follow this story. What a backbone. Throw a bunch of backbones in the chat for old Clemogio. Doing? Okay, so they're saying it's going to be raining all race over at You and I Virtuosi. Okay, it looks pretty. Yeah, it looks pretty wet on this part of the track actually. It's in the sort of the end of the first sector doesn't look that bad, but this end of the track is it's still pretty pretty damp there. Novak now 8/10 off the back of Mighty. Vamonos. Alright, so who's quick? So Behrman still running around in P7. Interesting. Not a lot of overtaking at Spain at the best of times, but in the rain perhaps even less so. Or it could open the door a little bit more, I don't know. I'm just going to sit here and continue to pretend like I know what I'm talking about. As we're going to get a replay of Nissani carrying a shit ton of speed down into... he's in the gravel. Not his finest moment, not his worst, but not his finest. As we rejoin the fight between Owaza and Fittipaldi. Now that is going to be over P9. Two of the closer cars on track. Now Leclerc's been noted for a rain light infringement, which is obviously not his fault. Geez, those boys can't catch a break in Monaco. That was actually quite hard to watch up close, if I'm perfectly honest. Obviously, Charles less unfortunate, but like, are they ever going to catch a break? I think there is a genuine curse. Maybe we could do maybe we could sort of perform next year. Screaming Meals could sponsor it. We could perform some sort of exorcism before the Grand Prix weekend. We'll live stream the whole thing. It'll be, we can get some sort of voodoo master down there or something, because something's got to be done, and I don't believe it's scientific. I think it is at this point. It's spiritual, and I think it needs to be addressed as such. So it's an open offer to the Leclerc brothers. I'm extending now. If you would like to partake in some sort of spiritual cleansing exorcism type scenario prior to next year's Monaco Grand Prix weekend, we'd be more than happy to take care of that for you. So lap 6 here, as we've still got Fittipaldi and Owaza tussling it away on board here. And the spray really isn't that bad. It obviously clears up through the corners as they travel slower and there's less spray, but I mean this looks like a bit of fun out there. Sliding around. I reckon there'd be a lot of drums, like sort of, so almost like tribal drums, but sort of more Monegasque, sort of your college sports drummers. A lot of that kind of stuff going on at the Exorcism. Like I said, sponsored by Screaming Meals, so we could get one of those big like bass drums with the Screaming Meals logo in the middle of it. That would look pretty cool. Good for branding. Good brand exposure. I like the change they've made. As Vesti sets another fastest lap out in front. I like the change they've made in the last sector. I don't think that was unpopular with a single person in the world. That chicane was the worst thing it was the worst piece of track, and you'll know this if you've played Formula 1 2000 and anything. It is the most uncomfortable piece of track and most just awful little piece of tarmac in motorsport, and I'm glad to see the back of it. Novak now 4/10 off the back of mine. He's still carrying some good pace. Clamogio is called. He was getting it really fucking sideways. They're going over the hill there and into the last corner, but it's working out for them. Fair play to the man. I mean, he's 6 seconds off the back of Martinez, but he's holding there in P3 with 7 laps into this race, and I'm gonna go right out there and say I think he's done a shit sight better than a lot of people would have thought. I hope I haven't just thrown a curse on him, because I do dig his hairdo. It's really regal, and you want to see regal hair go well. You don't want the balding folks like Marcus occupying the podium. Okay, so now it's going to stop raining in 15 minutes, I think is what Virtuosi's pit wall is saying. As Clamogio is now only half a second off the back of Miney, who's got 2.7 to Leclerc. And I'm not sure if he's turned his rain light on yet. As we're going to get a shot of the weather radar here. They always zoom in on those, as if we have any fucking idea what we're looking at. They may as well show us somebody's, dialysis machine results, because at the end of that, it's just a bunch of data. We've got no context to what any of the colours mean. We can't see the key. It's bad data. So you get a shot of it and you go, oh, interesting, there's some shapes moving around and there's a map of the track. But it actually means nothing as far as the sort of atmospheric conditions and what we can expect, because ultimately, like I've been banging on about, we've got no idea what we're looking at. And it looks like Owaza could be making his move now. And he's right down the inside of Fittipaldi. They're going to go into turn 5, I think it might be. And he's got him under brakes there. So that's nice and simple. He took his time with Owaza, but patient driving. I say it's a virtue, and he's proving that. I reckon these wet tyres are going to get really chewed up. I think we could see some really interesting shit unfolding in around about 8 to 10 laps here, folks. So stay with us. Do apologise on behalf of the drivers that it's been relatively mistake-free and uninteresting so far, except for the advance of Clement Novalak. There's not been too much to follow too carefully, as race control's got something to say. So between Pourchaire and Owaza noted, causing a collision. Don't know if I spotted that. Because they're way away from each other now. So Pourchaire's pretty close to the back of Doohan now, but that's been the case for a little while. Behrman not too far behind those two. They're starting to sort of settle in a bit, and now they're really going to start getting over to the right-hand side of that track there to try and get the sort of get the water on their tyres and keep them cool. Only about a third of the way, just over a third of the way through the race. Quite early doors to be doing that sort of carry-on. So keep an eye. Novalak, 2/10 off the back of Miney now. Come on, Clem! And we're going to get a replay of something happening on lap 1. This could be the contact between Pourchaire and Owaza. Yes. I'm a little impartial. I think that's a lap 1. It's wet. Tussling for position job, if I'm being perfectly frank. So he's spray around. Owaza's taken him by surprise there. Owaza's tried to kind of turn in on him, but it's just one of those things. That's one of those things in my opinion. I could be wrong. The stewarding's been fucking questionable at best over the last couple of weeks, so we'll see where they land on that one. And this portion of racetrack really now looking like it's drying up. They're sliding around like nobody's business. No further investigation. There you go. Rare breaking news. The stewards have been reasonable. Hauger radio. He's literally just drifting now. Where's he running around in? P4, so fine. He's doing a splendid enough job. The Norwegian man, he'll be used to going sideways on the roads. I say that with blind ignorance, having never been to Norway and seen the roads, but I'd imagine that they're pretty slippery. Actually, there's Norwegian people in the chat. Can you confirm that? Are your roads a bit difficult? Very. Yeah. Okay. There you go. So spot on. So we're going to get a replay of Chris Miney here, who's in front of Novalak currently. Or is he still? Maybe I've missed something. When Jack shaved his head. Yeah, I didn't like it when Jack Doohan got rid of the hair. I think it was a step back for him, but he's a bloody nice guy actually. We haven't had a good chin wag properly yet, but we give each other the old nod from across the way every so often. And, good dude, old Jack Doohan. Felt bad for him in Monaco. Obviously, he had a bit of a shit over the weekend. After he had a kind of stronger start to the weekend as well. And Stanek's got by Correa, who's had a bit of a rough time of things. And here's Novalak on the screen. As Correa gets back by Stanek. Come on, Clem. Porcher's just put a move on somebody. Oh, or has he? He's going to go all the way around the outside on the third to last corner. That's an expression. Yeah, that's a nice move. Good on the throttle. He's gone around the outside of Doohan, speak of the devil. Had a sip and be drink there. Talking shit for a long time. Hey, thanks for tuning in, team. Appreciate your views, appreciate the numbers. Taking the whole Screaming Meals empire to the moon. Jackie Moon. He's probably not having the best of days, dare I say. But as we going to get a replay of Porsche around the outside of Doohan. No, it was a nice move. Doohan looks like he's struggling a bit. Struggling a bit with the traction there. But yeah, mate, I'm ready for something to happen in this race. I'll tell you that much for Tuppence, because it's been pretty smooth sailing so far for most. And Novalak's done 90! He's had almost no coverage on the TV, and that's probably because F1 media hates us, but he's on a massive run through the field, up 7 spots. Only a handful more to go before the bloke's in the points. Unbelievable from Novalak. A monstrous tear through the field. As we're going to get Behrman having a sniff at Doohan, are we? Coming into the braking zone there, and they're both they're flinging it round. They're really backing the rear end into it there. Behrman, he's going to have another sniff. He's going, so, yep. Doohan's going to take the high line. Not morally. And they're pretty much 6 and 2/3 through that corner, the low and the high, but different strokes for different folks. And in the wet, whenever you get close in a sort of close corner like that, because you're travelling so slowly, you really get a false sense of how close you are to passing someone, because accelerating just takes so long when it's raining like that. I know that's what you tune in for. James's fantastic driving tips. As an insurance broker, I can tell you these things. Actually, I went driving on Tuesday at Zandvoort. That was good fun. Shook out the old cobwebs. I wasn't very good. I was 2 seconds. We're going to get a replay. Stop talking about myself. Get a replay of Novalak's move on Miney to the outside, slipstream, no DRS, obviously in the wet. And he's going to hit the picks. Oh! Overtaking delight from Novalak. That was pornographic. Oh, beautifully slowed down, just on the brakes as we get old fucking Cordell's getting it all sorts of wrong, dropping his tits in the gravel there, and Doohan's going to go around the outside of him, and Behrman's going to fancy his go up the inside and probably run him a little bit wide, and he might find the gravel again, dare I say. Although he's held on to it quite nicely here. This guy, Behrman, brake early and let him overshoot. Yeah, and he's just about got room for his nose in there. Is he going to go? He could have gone to the inside of the track and tried something, but I am going to get back to Novalak's move in just a second. I'm just going to wait for this phase of the race to play itself through. There's Vershaw sniffing around now in P8 on the back end of Oliver Behrman. Yesterday's pole sitter, tomorrow's pole sitter indeed. Novalak! The man has just come alive in these conditions. And I'm not going to be too one-sided, but they do say in the rain it's where the real talent comes out. Your Schumachers, your Sennas, your Novalaks, all exemplified here in Barcelona. They're really looking for water now to cool these tyres down. I think I can hear Billy Munger saying exactly the same thing in the faint backdrop of the commentary there. He's actually, I tell you what, he's been really good in the commentary box. I've enjoyed his stuff this weekend in Formula 3 and both Formula 2 qualifying. So credit where it's due. I like how I'm doing a plug like against my own product. Yeah, just giving a rap to my direct competition. What a fucking moron. How's he going to get Miney's radio? I didn't quite catch it. But it sounds like they may be going to take a look at some slicks. I don't know about that. It's the sort of river that we're looking at now as everyone's sort of coming through and sweeping up towards that last sector of the track. There's a real river across the road. And getting the power down there with a slick tyre would just be a nightmare from hell. I don't even know if that's an expression, but I mean, imagine having a nightmare in hell. That's probably what it's going to be like. Oh! Cordell getting it a little bit. Slippery Gypsy back in there. Where is he now? P6, behind his teammate doing. So Behrman's done well through that little bit of a scuffle to hold on to P7. I think he's fought off for sure, and that little bunch is closed off by Leclerc. And then it's a 4.5 second gap back to yours truly, Clement Novalak in P12. What a drive to date. I mean, still another 12 laps to go on this bitch. Mawaza all over the back of Richard for sure. Who was actually... Hang on, let's see how this plays out. Is he going to flick it in here? I would have. Richard, I'm going to return to my story about myself here now, if you don't mind. Was at this track day that I was at in Zandvoort on Tuesday, there being as an instructor, hanging around, taking people, showing them what they were doing wrong around Zandvoort and a bunch of BMWs with a company called GP Elite. I was hacking around there. I was 2 seconds slower than Renger van der Zande, who's a Ganassi IMSA driver. So I was actually pretty happy with that, to only be 2 points off him. Maybe it's time for a comeback, I don't know. I don't have the funding. After a week of partying my tits off in Monaco, funding isn't exactly looking super healthy at the moment, if I'm perfectly honest. And we will talk about that. I'll probably end up talking a lot about the carrying on and the carries on and the shenanigans, if you will, from Monaco and tomorrow's race, because the feature races are a lot longer and quite potentially, and historically in Barcelona, very boring. So you might need some stories about the boys there, as we're going to go on board Stanek in the Trident, right behind Juan Manuel Correa, who may or may not be involved in a lot of those stories from Monaco. He's going to have a sniff around the outside. Now, can he judge this as well as Novalak? And he's gone! He's gone around! And I think he had a little bit of assistance there from Juan. So I don't know if I can put that one on Roman. I think he did everything that Clem did there, but just got a little bit of a how you doing from the front left tyre of Juan Manuel Correa. And we're going to get a replay here. Now you can see he fires it down the outside, late on the brakes, nicely done. Tucks it in, maybe he is a little bit greedy with his own room. Probably, I mean, he'll feel hard done by, and I don't think he's got any reason not to be, though, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, no, that's... Yeah, that one's on JC. Sorry, brother. Right, what are we looking at now? So we're looking at Leclerc having a sniff around at the back end of Fittipaldi. And he can sniff and sniff all he wants because it's Clement Novalak behind them. So Correa's saying he wants to talk about going on slick soon. Now, we saw some heroics from Juan Manuel Correa making a decision like that in Hungary last year in Formula 3, where I believe he was the first person to pit. And he came through like an absolute bat out of hell. on in the last few laps there and ended up with the top few positions, and then a nice points paying position, and then went out and filmed a podcast with us. That was the infamous evening of the Hungary episode with Juan Manuel Correa and Clement Novalak. I think he was still a guest at that point. He hadn't quite weaseled his way into the franchise, whereas he now owns 30% of the company. So hats off to him there. That was probably one of his better performances last year. Basically acquiring 30% equity, having joined the proceedings quite late, as we see him go through turn 6 there. Mighty radio again. I think he really wants to go slicks. I think we're going to see someone on slicks in the next lap or two. I love this shit. I really like a race where tyre changes like these are where the heroes and the zeros come to identify themselves. It just looks so wet in this part of the track, just at the end of the second sector. But everywhere else looks absolutely fine for it. I think Clement should do it. Because if he did it and gets it right, I think he'll pretty much win. No, probably not. There's probably not enough laps to actually stop and have a big enough advantage on the leaders. And Miney's going to do it. Miney's going to do it. This is going to be interesting. The Cush guinea pig Miney and Daruvula, both the Indian drivers in. Maybe there's something in that. Maybe there's not. Twitter will let me know. Everyone, okay, so the Carlin's out as well. And Fittipaldi's into... Okay, well, that explains the Carlins. Well done, James, you tit. Okay, this is going to be... Guys, strap yourselves in. This is going to be... Rogue. Now, see, here, they look like champions. Because that pit straight is dry as anything. Cordell's been slapped with 5 seconds. Oh! Cush with a big old moment there. Fistfuls of opposite lock coming out of the second corner there, entering 3. This is really interesting. I think their outlap here is going to be horrendously slow. But I think Juan's going to come in this lap. I mean, look at the circuit there. It looks absolutely fine. But on TV, it often does look a lot lighter than it is at the actual circuit. I can tell you that from experience, having been to a circuit before. And it's been raining and stuff. Great commentary. Return to the front. Cordell's absolutely hanging the arse out of the thing. Sideways is a sideways thing. And one is stopping this lap. That's interesting. I'm going to Formula E in London. If I see Mitch, I'm literally just going to scream about James. I met Mitch Evans on Sunday night in Monaco, and he knew who I was, and it was the best fucking evening of my life. Embarrassing. I went up, introduced myself, and then felt the need to explain after I said, "Hi, I'm James." Then also that I do the podcast with Marcus Armstrong, and he was like, "Yeah, I know." And inside, I died. But then when I woke up the next morning with a bunch of beer fear, I thought, God, what a colossal tit that you must have looked like in front of somebody you've idolised for close to 10 years. Is Fittipaldi's radio is going to come on. So the guys on slicks apparently no quicker than those on wets. So that indicates to me that that's probably the time to make the stop and cross over. This is quite interesting actually. We're on board with the Waza going through the last 2 corners. Last corner now if you're trying to sync up. On lap 19, Novalak, 1.5 off the back of that little bunch now. Come on. And he's in the pit. Come on, Clemogio. Come on, Trident. Please just pull a good pit stop out of your ass. Find it within yourselves. And that kind of also implies that they're pulling it out of them. Alright, I'm just going to glaze over that one. Okay, so Clemogio, he's going to drop to I believe, probably P60. No, so Boschong's in the pit as well. So he's probably going to hold position. I mean, you know. So Kushmine is apparently struggling more than anyone else, I just heard Billy Munger say. And Novalak's back out in P14. He's clearly had a clean stop. Are the stars finally aligning for Clement Novalak to have a just ripper of a race? How I believe he's the lead driver on slicks. The fastest car on track is running slick tyres. Clemogio is the lead car on slick tyres, I believe. And one of the VARs has dropped it. And it's won. Bugger. Shit, he's not had a good day. And is that going to bring out the safety car? And is everyone going to... Is it going to bring out... Oh, fuck you and your virtual safety car. Fuck you and your virtual safety car. You've just given a free fucking pit stop to the front 13 drivers, and now my mate Clemogio, you've just fucked his chances at a race win. Fuck you and fuck your virtual safety car. See you next Tuesdays. Fuck your virtual safety car. Bastards. Sorry about that. So there's a virtual safety car on lap 20 of 26. And it's going to be, yes, it was Deruvla behind Novalak. And so there are still some people out on the wet tyres in front. But I think I said it earlier, and I'll say it again. Fuck your virtual safety car. That's bullshit. But anyway, Vesti Radio. He's going to box for slicks. And now it's a full safety car. So where does that leave us? Fuck knows. But I mean, Porsche is back out in front of Novalak. I'm now very confused, ladies and gentlemen. And it's a clean stop for Frederick Vesti, championship leader. Onto the slick tyre. So, is the pit lane now closed? No, it's clearly not, because here comes Victor Martins. Now, where's the rest of the field? We're not quite sure. And it's a clean stop for the ART driver, who wheel spins away back into where? P2. So he's lost nothing. I'm very lost now. I mean, at this point, it's just completely thrown everything I know about anything out the window. I'm just blinded by rage because I feel like Clem could have won. Bit of a slow stop for Clerk. Sure as death and taxes. Okay, so it's actually pretty much now exactly as they were. So the stewards seem to have taken away any benefit to the people who were brave enough to go in and change their tyres early whatsoever. Yeah. Well, that is lame. to say the least. I mean, we're almost in for one there, folks. We're almost on a real ride. Before, surprise, the stewards decided, no, we don't like racing. We like sort of procession timed driving at speed, which is exactly what they did in Monaco, and they decided that, actually, you know what, everyone in the top 8, they've had a good day so far. Let's just give them all 3 points halfway through a race. And now they could have just brought the safety car straight out when they saw a car beached in the gravel on slicks when other cars are also running around on slicks in a drying track, which is obviously a safety car. But there were 2 French drivers in the top 5, and so they thought, you know what, let's just throw a virtual, slow everyone down, and then we'll let them come into the pits. To really put my tinfoil hat on there. Furious. So Hauger's he's gonna be P3. So 4 to go. And it looks like, I believe this will almost certainly be the last lap under safety car by the looks of that recovery vehicle and the stage they're at in recovering one's car. So there'll be 3 to go, or 4. I think 4 complete circuits. This could be wild. Complaints of a slow safety car from Frederick Vesti. Zane Maloney's just pumped in the fastest lap under safety car. What is Formula 2 at this point? I mean, what even is it? Like, we've been robbed of a Novalak win. People are setting fastest laps under safety cars. Goodness gracious. This is why I've got grey hair at 25. This is why I've got grey hair at 25. Alright, so they're going to swing through. Now, safety car lights are still on. Oh, lapped car overtaking. It's going to be Kush. It's going to be Kush Miney. Get an inboard shot there of Bernd Mailander. You always tell by the big old goggles he runs. Okay, so to let Miney go all the way through, we're going to get 1 less lap of racing. That was another good decision by the stewards. Also, and because we've got an extra lap under safety car and not much else to talk about, now we'll go through the order of how they're going to restart towards the end of the lap. I'm still not convinced. Not yet convinced would be the correct grammar there. That the so-called lapped cars from last week's feature race in Monaco were even a lap down. Because they'd all stopped and the front runners had them. But they'd stopped to change the tires. That didn't mean they were a lap down. I don't think, how would they, yeah. It's not the Indy 500. Like, when you stop and change your tire, you don't lose laps. I don't think they were a lap down. And then, for some stupid fucking reason, everyone who had made that stop was waved through on before the safety car restart, after the red flag, to rejoin the rear of the field, when I don't think they actually had to. And then they decided that they'd restart the race, even though everyone was only halfway around the circuit. And so we had a race of 8 cars, and then we had a race of 14 cars, or whatever it was, which was fucking stupid. And so, I mean, a part of me technically thinks that if we actually did a full-scale investigation into what went on there, you'd actually find that whoever finished 9th on the road truly won the feature race by half a lap. But that's just me and my tinfoil hat. Make of that what you like. Go watch the replay and prove me wrong on Twitter, by all means. But Another fine example of some Formula 2 bollocks. Right, so the lights are out on the safety car, and it's going to be, as promised, it's going to be Vesti, Martins, Hauger, Porsche, Doohan, Verschoor, Behrman, Cordeal, Iwaza, Fittipaldi, your top 10 as they restart. Leclerc, Novalak, Hadjar, Deruvla, Stanek, Nissany, Maloney, Boschong, and Benavides. There you go. And where's Vesti going to let it rip? I think he's going to go in the straight between the third to last corner and the second to last corner. Yeah, there he goes. All right, now this is going to be interesting. So a few pioneers out here, a few of the front runners who won't have turned a lap at speed on the slick tyre, and a few quicker guys behind. Behrman basically having to get in on the anchors coming out of the last corner to stop from running in the back of Richard Verschoor there. With green flag, and Behrman's looking to go around the outside. There's another car up the inside. This could get really fucking hairy. And Verschoor's going to carry in just enough speed to get around the corner and maintain position. Vesti's bolted, and it's going to be ART on ART, and it's not for long. Porsche swings around the outside of Victor Martins. And Behrman's, it's looking at tightly packed right and around that middle there. As Cordeal runs a little wide. Seems to be the trend of the day for him, but this one wasn't so bad. Kush Miney with the fastest lap. So his tyre's going to be actually up to temperature. And that'll be why that's happened. Come on, Clem! Oh, a big old lock up there from Doohan. And now we've got 52 seconds left, so we'll probably get... Oh, and another lock up from an Alpine Academy driver there of Victor Martins in the P3 fighting off Patrick Swayze. So we've got 40 seconds left, so we're only going to get another lap of this. Nice shot of Clem there. Going through the final corner there now. Now I wonder what the rules are here. I wonder if we finish this lap and we get one more, or if we get the checkered flag on this lap. Vesti smashed it. I mean, again, having a great year. The Great Dane. Was Scooby-Doo a Great Dane? Was Scooby-Doo a Great Dane? Does anyone know? If so, I'm going to start calling Frederick Vesti Scooby-Doo. Yes, Scooby-Doo was a Great Dane. There it is. Frederick Vesti, on this commentary stream and all streaming Meals media going forward, it shall now be known as Scooby-Doo. It's a Great Dane. Okay, so back on board here now with Patrick Swayze looking at the back of Victor Martins. Who's hotter? This is a real clash of the titans between two of the hottest drivers in Formula 2. I mean, on-track results aside, who's better looking between Victor Martins and Patrick Swayze / Dennis Hauger? That's a real question. I mean, great minds could debate that for hours on end. Hours on end. Two real hot dudes. So this is now the last lap. So Vesti started the last lap here, or Scooby-Doo, as I have promised that he should now be known. Doohan, solid race from Doohan. Usually by this point in the race it would have gone tits up, given the trends of the races for him so far this season, and by no fault of his own a lot of the time. But he's gone right here. Fuck your virtual safety car. Fuck your virtual safety car. That's a t-shirt. Cordeal's going to be... Okay, so Cordeal's not served his time penalty properly, which could result in another spot for us up to P11 for Novalak. Fucking painstakingly close to a top 10. From fucking P19 as well. All genuine overtakes too. All genuine overtakes, maybe with the exception of Moon at the beginning of the race, but how about it? Let's hear it for Clem. That's a great drive. Still no points, but I mean, great drive. Proud of him for that one. And Scooby-Doo swings round the last corner. The Great Dane's going to take yet another victory here in the 2023 Formula 2 season. It's Portier backing up in P2 and Martin's rounding out another strong result for ART in the third spot. Hauger, P4, doing, as I said, another strong result. One of few strong results so far, sadly, for him this year in P5. Vishor, P6, good on you, mate. Deruvela's parked it up in the gravel on the last lap, didn't fancy the last bit. And then Cordeal, yeah, he's going to drop down to P14. Clamogio, just outside the top 10. And he's absolutely dedooshed Deruvela. Fucking hell. Whew. You see Scooby-Doo swinging around in the background to take his win. Jesus, he was carrying some speed there. I'm going to round out Behrman P7. He's going to start off pole tomorrow, and then Awaza P8, final points paying position there. Leclerc 9, Fittipaldi 10, Novalak 11, Hadjar 12. Credit to him as well, coming from P18, and that's 8 spots up likewise. Stanek, decent in P13. Cordeal, who actually, you know, okay, yeah, he started on pole and he ended up P14, but could it, like, that could have been a lot worse. Maloney, P15, didn't really do much all race other than set the fastest lap under safety car, which is, I've not actually ever seen that before in my life. Yeah, Backbone. Backbone from Clem. Well, that was it. That was a good race, folks. Jeez, look at the Ferrari fans there. I assume that's probably the Carlos Sainz stand or something. That was a pretty good race for given recent form from Formula 2. I thought I enjoyed it. You know, always a wet to slick race is a real treat. So, you know, hats off. Not too much more to say other than I'll be back tomorrow, gracing your screens with my bullshit and all that kind of carry on. I'll do the IndyCar as well. Marcus over in Detroit there, having a ball of things. I think their second practice is probably still on. I might have just finished. So I'll have a look at that. So thanks for joining me once again, and do please join again, your boy, to watch the team take on the world of motorsport. Thanks very much. Ta. How does this fucking...